Good. So, Dimitri, are we waiting for another speaker or?
I think we could start. Oh, here is Kyle. Hello. So let's know we could start.
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm late.
Hey, Chase, how are you?
Good, good. We're just on a epic hike looking for some land out there, and it was it was exhausting.
Where are you? Where are you now based?
Southern Thailand on one of the islands.
Wow, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's very beautiful here. It's like paradise.
Okay, how are things technically for you? Unstable, or can you handle the call? It's fine.
Yep, yeah. Does everything sound okay?
Sound is perfect. Sound is perfect.
Okay.
So look, we have this recording actually for the Global Investment Summit. Thanks to DAO for setting up that. And I'm Maher as the chair of the event, and will introduce myself as well, my background, and then I will give you the floor to give a quick introduction of yourselves, and then we can go through setting the scene, everyone saying, like, you know, out of your experience, out of your activities today, you know, how the investment world is, what you are looking for, give some recommendations as well, and then we'll be asking some questions. So you might take maybe 10 minutes, every one of you, to give your key messages. We'll ask questions, and then afterwards we try to have a more debate among the speakers that we have. I think would be useful as well to give whatever information, your full name is on the screen, but you can give it again in the chat, an email, a link to things you would like to highlight as well. That will be the chat window. So when people will see the recording, they will have that information in the chat window that will stay. And I think it would be useful for Dimitri as well to say a few words about DAO. There is a platform which had been put in place, and to show that what are the powerful features, for example, that are in place and so on, that could be interesting for this community. And if you can do all of that within like an hour or maximum 1 hour and a half would be great. Make sense?
Perfect.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm Maher, as I said, I'm chairing the event. I have 30 years of experience in the digital business, 6 years at Capgemini, 21 years at SAP. And then 3 years with the GE.digital. I have been addressing a number of sectors with the digitalization, and I keep working with the European Commission on their digital transition for the energy and mobility sectors, for example. And I have other board responsibilities as well.
Okay.
Michele?
Okay. Thanks for the invitation at first. My name is Michele. I'm Michele Zilocchi. I'm from Italy, and I work with an investment firm from London. I'm in charge of the division about cryptocurrencies. So what I mainly do is about trading on cryptocurrencies, mining farm facilities design, of course, advisory for ICOs and blockchain startups. And I've been in this sector, in this field, from 4 years until now. And I'm developing my own businesses before even graduating at the university. So it's like 8 years that I'm developing my own businesses, starting from microalgae startups, since I'm a chemical engineer by background. And I started on microalgae field, and then moving on to the finance, starting from the numerical design of betting exchange strategies, and then creating our own division about cryptocurrencies.
Great. And then we have Kyle.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Kyle Chasse. I've been a serial entrepreneur all my life and got into crypto and blockchain in 2012, and quickly understood the power of blockchain and Bitcoin, and went all in. Basically, just went down the rabbit hole and put everything I had into Bitcoin, and then later Ethereum. And as the value of the portfolio grew, I started investing in a lot of different early infrastructure and blockchain. So I've invested in about 40 different projects over the last 8 years. A lot of infrastructure from wallets, protocols, exchanges, different infrastructure, side chains, things like that. In my 8 years in the business, I've invested, advised, and built several different projects. Still have been investing a lot up until about 6 months ago, a year ago. We started really focusing on a couple of projects we're building in-house. One of them is a blockchain co-working, co-living community hub here in southern Thailand. Another one is cryptocurrency exchange infrastructure, trying to help mature the exchange space and democratize the exchange space. So I'm in Southeast Asia because the quality of life is amazing here, and I'm from America, but I'd rather not live there.
Thank you. That's great. So, Michele, would you like to start? Dimitri, just give you the floor as well for introducing yourself.
Yeah, okay. Glad to see you here. So actually, I was founder of DAO.digital. So actually, we're building right now the platform for connecting entrepreneurs, investors with experts, and invited Maher Chebbo to help us for building that platform for making these connections. So actually, I've been 10 years in building digital platforms, helping companies to implement digital services and etc. For 3 years, was helping for crypto companies for building them different tools like marketplaces, DAOs, and other things. And right now, we're building the platform DAO.digital that would help us build great community of experts, would help us invite entrepreneurs and startups who would like to raise funds for their projects, and also would like to build community of investors who would like to invest to that projects. So actually, we're building the platform who would help connect each other, and I'm really glad that you are here building this story with us.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, Michele, the floor is yours. Take like 10 minutes and then give us your thoughts.
Well, as I said, I started in the blockchain and cryptocurrency field 5 years ago. Besides, I had some previous experience in the finance industry. I do not consider myself as an early investor in the cryptocurrencies, since I started investing it from an entrepreneurial point of view and not just a speculative point of view. We decided to create a cryptocurrency division in our investment fund. It's based in London. Because we truly believe that the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain are a real evolution and a real disruption of the economy and financial field from what we see right now. So what I can say is that until now, I saw different kind of people facing cryptocurrency and the possibilities, the economical possibilities about cryptocurrencies. The first one are the speculative, so the believers about cryptocurrencies, people that are just entering into the field because they hope to get money from it. The second, I will say, there are some technical and technological people entering into the market because of the technology besides the cryptocurrencies, for example, the blockchain. The third kind of people, which I insert myself in, are the entrepreneur of the cryptocurrency field, when we try to deliver and develop new projects about cryptocurrencies and the blockchain. So what we are mainly focused on right now is the trading, of course, about cryptocurrencies, and we are developing automatic strategies about trading cryptocurrencies because we know that not everybody is able and is really ready to start a path into the trading of cryptocurrencies. The second sector we have about cryptocurrencies is about the blockchain startups consultancy and advisory. I am personally involved in several projects about advisory of different blockchain startups, for example, in the supply chain traceability, especially focused on the made in Italy valorization, I would say, since, you know, maybe made in Italy is quite famous in the world, and we know different specialties that come and are special, really trustful in Italy. And about the blockchain, we are developing automatic system and automatic decentralized systems for the government of, for example, real estate assets and investment funds it's themselves management through the diversification and decentralization of the owner and of the manager, I would say, of these assets. Lastly, but not the least part, we are developing a mining farm facility in Asia. We truly believe that beside the speculative part of the cryptocurrencies represented mainly by the trading part, the technological evolution part of the cryptocurrencies based on the blockchain, we truly believe that the blockchain should be enhanced by every player that decides to go into and to enter into this field. And that's why we're developing our own mining farm facilities, one in Asia and one in the Eastern Europe. So that's the three main areas we are focusing on. So when I find time, I'm also I would say an evangelist of the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies, since I try to spread the word and spread a conscious word about what the revolution of this field can really bring to our life. And yeah, that's what mainly we are focused about right now.
So when how do you divide actually your time between delivering new projects in cryptocurrency, advising, evangelism, and so on? So how do you connect the dots between all these activities?
Well, one of my favorite historical figure was Stakhanov. It was from Russia, I guess, and it was the symbol of the hard work. I, on average, work between 10 and 14 hours per day. It's especially a really busy period, this one for me, because we are developing new projects for our fund in the cryptocurrency field. So what I'm trying to do is managing my time, avoiding death time, I would say. So just putting, for example, calls consequently one to the other, and avoid, I would say, rest time, just from one to the other. And trying to set up my time into I would say, the easier part. That could be the article writing, production of a new products, new info products about the trading, or yeah, evangelism, I would say, written or oral evangelism. When I'm, I would say, more tired, so just to relax myself, to chill out, I produce articles and evangelist materials.
Okay. Between Asia and East Europe, where you are trying to develop new programs in cryptocurrency and so on, which one of these two markets looks to be more ready for that?
Well, there are different people and different businesses that can be developed in these two areas. So when I'm talking about Asia, I'm talking about the Central Asia, where, for example, like electricity cost is really low, and hosting and professional costs are really low. Where we are building our mining facilities in Asia, consider that a really good professional that is paid to carry on our facility takes like $300 per month. That it's really a few, but we are even paying them the double of what they would be paid into their own currency, into the state. I see that in Asia we have a kind of different perspective of the business from what we are doing right now in, I would say, in the Western Europe. And for example, in the Eastern Europe, they are more I would say in the good way of saying that they are more nationalist. So they really care about the businesses that are carried on in the country. So they are really, I would say, teaming up with us, and they are really trying to fix things and fix problems that can be faced. In Asia, I would say that are kind of more timid. They are kind of shy at the beginning, but just because they are used to at first know who are you, and then understand if they really can help you with the business. So at first they want to understand if you are doing the things for real, and then they are going to help you.
Mm-hmm. Then the size of the investment fund and the number of companies where this investment fund has been investing. Can you give us some figures?
Yeah, we are in the moment we are below between the 1 and 10 millions of dollars in capitalization. So we are still a small investment fund. It's really recent. We built it up in 2014. It was the birth of this investment fund. And we are investing in mainly in our own companies. So we have different teams. Every team is leading one or more companies, and every company is connected to one or more business field. So for example, we have a team that leads our...
So if there is like another startup company who would be interested in this, they come as a second priority. First of all, you look at your own companies, right?
At first, yes. At first, we look at our own companies. We had experiences, actually kind of good experiences in investing in external companies, but since we have lots of experience in some businesses, we give the priority to what we know really well and what can be internalized.
Okay. And the $1 to $10 million in this fund, it's already available, or it's depending every time you got the case, you have to present it, it has to be approved. So it's I would say on demand or on request, rather than saying, you know, the fund is whole available and then we picking this.
The most part of the funds, of course, are invested. Otherwise, we would not be doing our job well. And so the most part of the funds are already invested. We, time by time, chance by chance, we evaluate every single case that can be submitted to us, and then we decide how to eventually enter the project, and if we are going to enter the project, on what size and what percentage of control we are going to enter the project.
What's your recommendation to the startup companies in cryptocurrency? What do you advise them? Like top 3, top 5 recommendations for yourself?
Well, at first, I would recommend to search for something that is really innovative, but beyond the innovation, I would recommend a concrete utilization of the service they are going to use. I see many different projects on, it's my work, I mean, I see many different projects on cryptocurrencies and based on the blockchain, but the most part of them do not have yet a real utilization on the market, and they are projects that are not really easy to have access to. For example, I had, for example, I saw one project last year that was like a marketplace to exchange company's gift for the employees of the company across the world. So they created a token to exchange this company's gift to the employees. Maybe, for example, an employee didn't like the gift, so he could sell it on the marketplace. Of course, it failed. It was kind of an interesting project, but I didn't think that it was really interesting and could have really a real market share to be placed in the market. So I would really recommend a concrete way of use and easy access to the service.
Okay. You believe in this market? You think that it's worth it? There's a lot of people who are skeptical, for instance, about the use cases and saying, like, we looked at that, we thought it's not mature enough, or it will have a lot of regulatory challenges and countries would fight against it and so on. Yourself, you say it's a question of timing. You are confident there is a future, there is a business there. You say to startups and investors, go ahead.
Yeah, and I strongly believe that there is a great future for the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain future. I think that it's just a matter of time that the number of applications will grow up, and we will see the blockchain regularly applicated into our application, maybe for example, mobile application that we regularly use to go to the supermarket and whatever, like the supply chain traceability is for sure one of the main example I like to mention most, since it's one of the most one of the best example I see in this field. And I think that, yeah, it's just a matter of time. And besides all the skeptical people that we can have in this field, it's normal, it's natural, I would say. I would feel strange if there were not skeptical people entering this field. But I think it's just a matter of time. So the more people will enter into the market, the more reciprocity there will be to other people, and the more people will enter because more people have already entered the market.
Okay, good. So that's interesting. Let me jump to Kyle, based in Thailand here, to tell us a bit more about the democratized cryptocurrency and his activities. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you. So yeah, same, take the floor for like 10 minutes, key messages, and I will ask you questions.
Sure. So you want me to discuss kind of what I've been up to, or
yeah, what are you doing? Just more in details than your introduction. How do you see the market? How do you see the challenges? What do you recommend to others who would like to deal with you, for example? And what are you looking for as well through this investment club of DAO.digital? What you are looking for, people you would like to reach out to or to deal with, explain all of that. And again, this is a network, and the objective of this network is that people who are joining this network could have reach out, for example, to you because they listen something is interesting and you're interested in something specific. Sure. And also we have a number of startups. My question will come definitely is, what's your recommendations for the startups who would like to play in that game? Okay, great.
Yeah, so there's, like I said, there's 2 projects that we're working on right now. What we were doing, last year was investing and advising, and we've shifted focus to building out a couple of core products because really I think that the space needs more infrastructure before we can see mainstream adoption. So, in 2017, a lot of people were trying to build B2C, models which were going after, mainstream end users. And I just think that the space isn't quite there yet. We need to make things easier, or as I say, grandma friendly. And we just need to mature the space. One of the reasons that we're not seeing a lot of mainstream massive public adoption is because we have this negative perception in amongst your Main Street person, right? You ask people, and like you just said before, a lot of people are hesitant to enter the blockchain or crypto space because they've heard so many things about it being a scam, or because of the hacks, the frauds, the cons, the thefts, things like that. And so I've been spending a lot of time thinking about how do we address this issue? How do we build a better public perception about the space? And so we're going about it in 2 ways. And what I wanted to do was create a self-regulatory organization because I think that one of the biggest challenges that we face is regulation. Not getting regulated, but having we have all of this a lot of shady or bad actors in the space, and people are asking or waiting for regulators to take action. However, my belief is that it's going to be very difficult to have regulators enforce local legislation on a global level. One of the best examples I can give you is, Binance, for example. They started in China, and when regulatory environment became unfavorable there, they moved to Malta. When it became unfavorable there, they moved again. U.S. traders are not supposed to be trading on Binance.com, but they are. So there's a lot of examples about, and for the first time ever, we have projects being born with the intention of having a global target demographic. And so if you're a regulator, how do you enforce legislation from an exchange operating out of Uganda that has a trader in Luxembourg, that's doing some type of trading that would be considered illegal, it's really, really difficult to try to enforce that, go after that operator or something like that. So what we need, in my opinion, is like a self-regulatory organization that sets global standards based on best practices, and then you give people options. You can set best practices and standards for exchanges, for like ICOs or any type of offerings, things like that. I quickly identify, is a project open and public, or is it private permissioned? If investors want to do due diligence on a project and try to understand what kind of project they're investing in, a lot of people use the word blockchain, and a lot of people believe that means that it's something that's made, with all of the most important, the pillars of blockchain that make it, truly innovative, which would be something like open, public, permissionless, censorship resistant, things like that, immutable. But a lot of people are building private permission blockchains that don't have all of these pillars, and they're using the word blockchain. And to some extent, I guess it would be, but it's not something that's extremely disruptive. It's just maybe a little bit more efficient than the systems that exist today. But something like Bitcoin is truly disruptive, and this is what would help to be able to quickly identify this. So anyway, so I identified the fact that a lot of the negative publicity was coming from exchanges, and so when I looked at this, I wanted to create a self-regulatory organization that was for exchanges. But doing some more research, I found that it's wishful thinking to think that an exchange would be willing to be transparent and be audited by a third party to see if they check all the boxes for best practices and standards, right? That's not going to happen. Why? Because a lot of them are doing things like wash trading, to pump up fake volume in order to make the public believe that they have more volume than they actually do, in order to sell, listing fees, IEOs and things like that. That has been the revenue model predominantly for a lot of exchanges. They haven't had legitimate revenue models, like actually getting revenue from trading and things like that. So I realized that in order for us to eventually one day have a SRO, we need to first help exchanges deal with the biggest pain point they have. And the biggest pain point for exchanges is liquidity. There's thousands of exchanges around the world, and there's a massive shortage of liquidity. Liquidity is extremely fragmented, and most of it exists in the top 5% of exchanges. So how do you solve this problem? Well, traditional liquidity providers use legacy systems that are extremely inefficient and unaffordable for most. And so if liquidity providers were efficient, or were something that was made sense for most exchanges to use, the exchanges wouldn't have the problems that they do today. Most of them wouldn't be at risk of going bankrupt, and we wouldn't have most people believing that we're going to have this massive consolidation of exchanges. People believe that there's going to be a massive consolidation and we'll be left with one or two exchanges in each country. And that's just what people believe. And if you ask me, that's an old world way of thinking. That's the way things used to be, right? But that's not good for us. That's not good for public. That's not good for people. We want healthy competition. We want exchanges competing. We want lower fees. We want better UX, UI. We want better everything. We want exchanges to be the best that they can be for their customers, not get comfortable because they're the big dog in town and they don't care, right? So unless somebody builds something that helps exchanges with this problem, we're going to have a massive consolidation. So what we're building is we have a project called Crypto Exchange Alliance, which is basically taking all of the exchanges that want to participate in this liquidity pooling technology that we're building. And the way it works essentially is we aggregate all of the order books from all of the exchanges that are in our alliance to create a global order book that's mirrored on all of the exchanges, so they can see all the aggregated liquidity of all the exchanges in our alliance, which shows up on their order book, which makes their order book very, very deep and very, very liquid. And then we have an execution engine that when a trader on one exchange places an order that exists on another exchange, our engine can then go ahead and execute the trade on both exchanges. And then we have a sidechain settlement solution that instantly will settle the assets between exchanges. So you have an instant settlement. So basically what this does is it creates instant liquidity for any exchange it joins with no with no upfront fees. It's a pay-as-you-go basis. So when we facilitate a transaction for exchange, they generate revenue, and we take a commission off of the revenue that they generate. So it doesn't cost anything to join. A brand new exchange could just launch, plug into what we built. They have instant access to a deep order book, deep liquidity, and what that allows them to knock down completely the massive barrier to entry that exchanges face. And because now they have liquidity, they can have a legitimate business model and make revenue off of trading fees. They can also spend their capital that they have to get started, not on market making, but on actually marketing and acquiring new customers, which benefits everybody in the ecosystem. So it's a bit of a complex model, and I'm not sure if everyone's going to understand it just from what I explained, but I could go on for another half an hour to get more in depth. But basically, this is a far better liquidity solution than legacy systems. We remove middlemen, and we allow exchanges to connect to each other in order to create a massive order book. Or essentially on the back end, it's an exchange of exchanges, creating the most efficient exchange possible by just having a lot of liquidity, and all these exchanges can gain access to it. This technology actually exists in the traditional FX world, but it doesn't yet exist in the digital asset world. And we're bringing it to the markets. We will be, we're now in an MVP stage, alpha testing, and we should be live within 30 to 60 days. We already have 20 different exchanges who have signed up, including some big ones, and we haven't even started marketing yet. So that's what we're doing. And if anybody's out there that wants to help participate, whatever, we have a really great affiliate program for anyone who can make introductions to exchanges for us. So that's that. And then what else we've been working on, which I think is really, really cool, and in the spirit of DAO, we're building something called House of DAO. And House of DAO is a blockchain-focused co-working, co-living community hub, where basically what we want to do is recreate that conference-like environment 24/7, 365, and it's kind of like a WeWork or a WeLive, where you can come out, you can live in paradise, great cost of living, and be surrounded by people who are like-minded and take advantage of all of their networks and leverage all of their connections, collaborate with them. And what we found, like I actually ran a proof of concept of this model last year for 6 months. I took a resort over here in Thailand in the south, and with 35 villas, we filled it up, and it was amazing. There's over 100 different people in blockchain came out, including some of the most well-known ones, like Willy Woo and Tone Bays and Shill Not, a lot of different influencers and things like that. And we have quite a few people out here now. And eventually, the goal is to have 20 or 30 of these things around the world. So you can be in this community, you can live and work from anywhere in the world and still have family dinner at night. And this idea goes a lot deeper than just what I said. It all stems from wanting to retool or redesign the systems that we grew up with. I believe that the majority of adults in the Western worlds aren't very happy. Like they just don't seem very, very very happy with their lives. Most people go to jobs they hate, and they're in dysfunctional families. And it's a shame when people wake up and the first thing on Monday morning is like, shit, I have to go to work today. Like that's a really, really bad way to live life, I feel like. People should be waking up in the morning and being passionate about what they're doing, and waking up excited to be able to do what they get to do and make money off of doing that, monetizing their passions, right? And so I think that there's a lot of things wrong with the way that the systems that we grew up with. And we want to start, we want these communities to be long-term living, where people live here, not just come visit, but actually end up living in these communities, and the goal is to, I call them power plants, and instead of like Nikola Tesla, who wanted to create these power plants all over the world and produce electricity, I want to create these power plants and pump out decentralized technology on a massive level. So we have an incubation model, we'll have a fund, and we'll support really disruptive projects that want to come, have a really good use case, and we believe in the project. They can come out, they can have access to all of our mentors, it's basically like an acceleration program, give them some investment, let them live there, and then, basically get them started and out the door, give them all the connections to our networks, and then send them on their way. But yeah, it's basically, there's a lot that we want to do here, but yeah, that's a bit about that. So yeah, happy to answer any questions. I know that was a little bit long. Sorry about that.
Thank you. This is an interesting concept. I would say network, what you call power is an image, right? Like the decentralized power plants. You are not providing electricity, right? You are just giving an image.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we're putting out decentralized technology on a massive level instead of power, like, decentralized technology.
okay. So practically, right? A guy who is bored to go to the job every day in Europe or US and so on, you are giving him or her an alternative. So practically, if somebody is interested, what should he do?
Sure. So, I mean, right now on houseofdao.io, we have, we're accepting we're not quite up and running yet, but we do plan on being up and running by
the stage of an MVP. You are at the stage of an MVP, and then you are testing it, right?
Yeah, that's for Crypto Exchange Alliance. For House of DAO, we already actually have. We just don't have the location locked in yet. There's about 2 or 3 different properties. That's where I actually just came from, and I was looking at one of them. But we do have the founding members program open. So anyone who's interested in participating, can contact us, and we can discuss, how they can get involved and become a founding member, which has a lot of perks and benefits. Gives them certain rights to, certain levels of access and different discounts. We're also partnered with about 6 or 7 different co-working, co-living hubs around the world. It gives them access to their locations and things like that. Also, if it's a founding member that's interested in coming in with a little bit more money, we can give them some equity as well. So that's how it is. And to be clear, the thing about redesigning systems, we want to actually have families growing up here and raising kids, because I think the education system is messed up. So when I talk about people not being happy and these kind of things, I'm talking about, the mentality in which we raise children in the community, getting other like-minded people around who agree that, if I have a child, I'm not going to send them to public school. I'm not going to send them to the school systems that we have now. We're going to redesign the way that we educate our kids. We're going to redesign the way that we raise our kids. We're going to redesign the way that we encourage them to, to monetize whatever it is that they're passionate about, things like that. So, but as far as someone wanting to come and join, when I was living in the United States, I'm so passionate about blockchain and cryptocurrency that's all I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about drama. I don't want to talk about reality TV. I don't want to talk about sports. I don't want to talk about COVID. I just want to talk about really cool things that we're building. And nobody that I was surrounded with when I lived in the United States wanted to hear it. Everybody was sick of hearing about Bitcoin and crypto. And so I really had nothing to talk about with the people that I loved and cared about, And when I ran the proof of concept here last year, I realized that a lot of other people are in the same situation, and it's very nice to be surrounded by people who are like-minded.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just reading some stuff on your LinkedIn profile. So when you say Master Ventures advises tier 1 projects like SPL.YT, banks, even network, Ultra, and so these are like new ventures. These are people like who come to you and say, can you help us in building a new business?
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of these projects that we advised were in 2017, 18, and some of 19. Right now, we're just advising 2 more that we already have contracts with that we started with last year. So right now, like I said, we're focused on really getting these 2 projects off the ground, Crypto Exchange Alliance and House of DAO. My team has a lot of experience advising projects. Those were all ICOs or token-based projects.
As usual.
Yeah. So we will start incubating again once House of DAO is running. Right now we're not really, we don't really have the capacity to take on new projects.
Mm-hmm. And then the Crypto Exchange Alliance, how many members do you have today?
We've got MOU signed with 20 different exchanges. And
these are investors, organizations?
They're exchanges. So so our clients are exchanges. Mm-hmm. We want to help them with their number one pain point, which is liquidity. So when I say we've got 20 MOU signed with our customers, they're different exchanges. So like, DigiFinex, Probit, Bitmart, HandBitGo, CoinsBits, Dex, like a lot, like we've got 20 different exchanges who are waiting, and we're starting to integrate them in the testing right now. But they're ready to use our technology as soon as it's, live and running.
Okay. And the API, the universal API is something you developed, or you are using a universal one for the exchange?
It's something that we developed.
Okay. And the house of DAO, the HOD. So this is in terms of timing, because now you have the MVP and you are testing things and so on. So how does it look like, your roadmap now, to get more people coming to you in 2020 and then the next years?
Yeah, it's hard to give you a straight answer with that. One of the things is that we right now it's not the easiest time to raise money, and we need to raise some money for this. So it really depends. If there's enough interest generated from the founding members program, and we can get maybe 30 people that invest $5,000 each or $10,000 each. Then we can get started, and we can start building out, a really cool community. We already have I think 16 people on this island that also want to get going. And so, but to
0 or 6, 1 6.
16 here. Okay. Right now. Yep.
When they came on that island, they come like physically or virtually?
Yeah, they're here. 16 are here now.
Okay.
And then we have about, I don't know, maybe another 15 or so that have just messaged us from the website already, and who have heard about it now from word of mouth.
Okay. So they are in the location where you are talking now, like 16 and so on, and all working on these projects. And where you are, it's like called the House of DAO, or?
Yeah, well, the House of DAO is an idea right now. It's we're in Koh Phangan, Thailand, and so it's actually funny because of this whole COVID thing. A lot of people we're actually in a villa community right now. So it's not where we will be, but it's funny. Like, so in my little community here, in my house here, there's 1, 2, 3, 6 other houses near me that each have between 2 and 4 people in them that are all in crypto or developers or fintech of some sort. Not all of them are part of House of DAO, and only, but yeah, there's a lot of other people on the island as well already who are in crypto and blockchain. Like we just had 10 people here that were building out the one of the scaling solutions, the Plasma network for Ethereum. So 10 people that were looking for a co-working space and things like that. So House of DAO will also be a co-working, co-living. It's also co-working. So yeah.
Excellent. So we had Arnoud Berghuis yesterday. I think Arnoud is running a Dutch blockchain language foundation. So when you hear that, Arnoud, what interest it triggers in you? Is that interesting for the foundation you have?
Yes. What was that?
Yes.
Sorry.
I could elaborate on that. I believe, well, we all a little bit have ideas and new visions how to run the world, but
introduce me what you are doing. Introduce yourself and what you are doing for the others, because you were in the call yesterday. We recorded, but then yes. Maybe new to speakers, the person is new to that.
What we do, we offer a natural language to digitalize business and assets. It's a mathematical compiler that compiles natural language into computer code that you can run, for example, on a blockchain. So in this way, you have machine-generated code that works a lot faster. It's easy maintainable and more adaptable. So now everyone can build large smart contract-based systems. So my previous speaker had some great ideas, but at the end it comes to the tooling that you have, that you need to build such a large system. Because what we saw, especially in the ICO winter, is that making blockchains based on smart contracts is quite hard. There are not a lot of large blockchains up and running at the moment, and we are also very scared, and there are good reasons for it that fraud could be involved. So how to do it better?
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you make an error on a blockchain, and a blockchain is a write-once environment, how do you get rid of such an error? What we see, and we see that also when we use other technology, is that when you do something handmade, well, that's not doing the job very well. You need proper tools, and that is exactly what we do. We deliver a really great toolbox for error-free, maintainable code. So it works basically this way. The engine is a mathematical function, and I give you an example. If you translate, for example, French into German, and I give you the grammar book, the ontology, and the semantics of both languages, and ask you to make a mathematical function between that can do the translation and can prove that the translation is correct, then it's something that we have. It's another model. If you compare it to Google Translate, it works in another way. Google Translate is using statistics and is guessing the translation.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know the problem there. Google Translate is really doing a good job, but you're never sure if it works. You always have to check a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you translate into computer code, then it doesn't run. And Google cannot translate one code into another. So we believe that this language layer on top of blockchain takes care of maintainable code, and that is quite essential.
And the benefit is accelerating, for example, the generation of things within a certain language in the blockchain technology is to help also getting more people to develop within this technology, because this language will facilitate it.
Exactly, because we are focusing on the users who want to digitalize, and that are not the programmers. These are the business people, because blockchain is all about compliance and certification and transferring trust. So the lawyer and the accountant would like to have a toolbox to do this, to digitalize the world, to make digital systems, digital laws. And this is exactly the toolbox that you would need. To elaborate on that, our language comes with an easy two-step methodology. We call it also the round table procedure. So we sit in the boardroom with the decision makers. We have someone like, well, normally you call it the secretary, we call it the legal engineer, who writes down the procedures. All understand. The manager do understand these procedures because our language is very readable. Then at the end of the session, we give this code to the compiler, and that generates, with mathematical precision, an output code that is understood by the machine or the blockchain. So now we are sure end to end that the machine does do exactly what we want. If you take a look at the way it works now, then we give these engineers an instruction and say, look, we like to build a waterproof system, and it has to do this and that. And then after some time, the programmer comes to us and said, look, is this what you want? And then you would say, yes, it looks really great, but I cannot check it, verify it. And there you have a kind of a problem. So it's by all readable, it's error-free, it's 10 times faster through the market. It's also platform independent. So basically you could change the back end, the blockchain. It's maintainable, it's adaptable. We have a kind of mechanism that you can change things. It's hidden in the language layer.
Great. Okay, thank you. Then now I would like to open as well the floor for Michele and Kyle to feedback on what you heard from each other. For instance, one open question I would have to every one of you is, in this world, you started by advising, consulting, and then you are saying, let's have a product, okay? So that's kind of a recommendation you would give to everyone and say, like, don't think only about just doing services and consulting this business. You need to have tools and you need to have products to be effective.
Are you asking to me?
Anyone, but you can start. Okay,
I will start. And yeah, as I said before, I think that talking about cryptocurrencies and blockchain are just nice talking until you do not realize something concrete. So what I said before is that to make the most part of the people and to make people understand how to enter this market and how to enter this revolution, how to enter this innovation, people have to touch with their hands what is going on and how cryptocurrencies and blockchain can change the way they are doing something. I think the easiest way may be, for example, the payments, which the traditional digital payments, not cryptocurrency payments, but traditional digital payments are kind of costly, and cryptocurrencies are cheaper than these digital payments, traditional digital payments. The blockchain can innovate and create new working position and cancel other working positions. So once the people will touch with their hands some concrete innovation about the blockchain, I am sure that they will start believing in the revolution.
Good. Kyle?
Yeah, to be clear, I didn't start advising. I don't think anyone can start advising because like what kind of knowledge do you have to offer other people if you're trying to come in and just be an advisor from day one? I started by building. So in 2013, I started building the world's first Bitcoin-based lottery. It was called the World Super Lotto, and we did 2 live drawings a week. It was all on Bitcoin, and it was a global lottery. Accepting payments in Bitcoin and paying out in Bitcoin. If that would have been built today, I'm sure it would have had all kinds of regulatory agencies, sending me letters or knocking at my door. But that was in 2013, 14, and stopped in 15 when nobody really acknowledged Bitcoin as any type of anything, right? It had no recommendations if it was a currency or if it was a commodity or if it was whatever. It was just magic internet money at the time. So, I've actually built, and from after World Super Lotto, I became COO of a project called Credits, which was blockchains as a service, built this from scratch protocol. We had private and public chain interoperability. We worked with the Isle of Man government to do like land registry on the blockchain, things like that. So I think it's really important that people, understand what is blockchain, what is a token, what is token economics, what is token utility, what is the monetary system and monetary system that your token's going to use. People have to understand really really have to understand blockchain before you can even consider advising. One of the biggest things I see in this space that I think is a massive problem is people who come from traditional world have been in crypto for 6 months or 6 weeks or whatever, and you see them sitting on panels giving advice to rooms full of people who think that they're professionals and they have no idea what they're talking about. Like for instance, one of the things I see a massive amount of time, which most people don't have any idea that it's completely wrong, is when you have a project that is an equity-based project that has a fiat-based revenue model. At the same time, they raise money with a token, and the token has no token utility, has no token economics, and people who don't understand the industry will invest in this token thinking that they're getting some type of ownership in the company or something like that. And they think that like just because the company might do well, like for example, I saw an article written in Cointelegraph or CoinDesk, one of them, like a week ago, and it was talking about why this analyst or this editor or whoever wrote this article thought that BNB or Binance token was the most undervalued asset. And while I might agree that BNB might be a good token to invest in for appreciation, the article was written extremely poorly because their argument was that Binance is doing so many different things and they're doing this and they're doing that and blah, blah, blah. However, they failed to mention why the token is relevant in anything that they discussed, right? So Binance, most of their models are generating fiat revenue, right? And the Binance token can disappear overnight tomorrow, poof, vanish, and Binance would be fine as a company. They're still going to generate billions of dollars of revenue a year, and the token holders are going to be holding bags of worthless tokens, right? Because the token doesn't have utility. I mean, Binance token arguably does, although I would say that a token for discounts on trading fees is a very poor use for a token, has no governance, has nothing like that. But people really need to understand this. You can't just jump into this, into blockchain or Bitcoin or crypto and just start doing things. You're going to get wrecked. You know, you really have to understand what you're doing. So one of the biggest problems I have with the space is people who, like I said, who jump on panels or are speaking at conferences to rooms full of people who don't fully understand, and they're giving out advice that is wrong advice, and people are just sitting there absorbing it, and then they're regurgitating the information to other people, and then you just have this massive spread of misinformation going around like a virus, and it's really not good for the industry, right? So you have, like, most people have no idea what they're doing when they're investing in a token. They think if the company does well, the token's also going to do well. But if the company, like for example, there's an exchange out of Europe, I won't name names here, but they are one of the largest European exchanges, and they raised $42 million in a token sale last year. They tried to get me to invest in the token, and I asked them, okay, if you want me to invest in the token, fine. What is the token going to do? What am I buying with my investment? They said, well, you know, it's like Binance, where we get a discount on token fees. I'm like, that's a very terrible use case for a token. Like that doesn't convince me that I'm going to see appreciation in token value in the future. Where are your token economics? Then they asked me, what are token economics? I said, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like they still raised $42 million for their token, which had no token economics. They had no idea how their token was going to be useful in the future or what it was going to be used for. But yet they still sold out, and they still have a fiat-based revenue model where, again, that company can do very, very well in the future, but all those token holders are left holding a worthless asset. And so I think it's important for people that are investing to really truly understand what you're investing in. You know, ask a project, if you're investing in a token, what is this token going to do? Why is it going to be valuable? Why do people want to hold on to it? You know, and does your company have an equity-based fiat generating revenue model? Because if it does, what are you going to prioritize? Are you going to obligate your fiduciary responsibility to your equity holders? Because is legally, that should take priority over your token holders. So if you're going to have a team that dedicates their time to generating revenue for the equity holders, what time are they going to spend and thinking about how they're going to generate value for their token holders? Now you have one team whose energy or focus is divided into two different revenue models, when if they would have generated a proper token economic model, they could have generated, thinking about how to generate revenue or how to create value in that token ecosystem. So this is one of the biggest problems I see in this space is just a pure lack of understanding and a lack of people speaking up about this. And it's a really, really big problem.
So this is really spot on, absolutely true. One of the challenges of the blockchain and cryptocurrency is to explain it in a simple learning way, pedagogic way that people can understand what we are talking about. and you know, there are other technologies that could be complex, that could be also new, where we went through a challenge to explain them, to simplify them, and to make the people understand what we are talking about. And there is a space here for people, I will not say cheat on each other, but I would say for people, you know, doing things that are not clear enough. That could drive a lot of millions. You mentioned it, that, you know, investors can hurry up because there is always a hype, there is always emotions, there is always, oh, I see people going there, so I should also put some money there and so on. But one of the awareness with people like you and experts like you, we should put in the market is to have, when it comes to investments, when it comes to startups as well, putting their cases on the table, is to be whether it's part of the jury or part of the expertise group, to say, look, you know, hold on, did you ask this question? Did you ask that question? And also make sure we can simplify the message. I heard a lot of cryptocurrency presentations where a lot of them are not clear. They just throw some keywords. They say they are doing things fantastic, the market. They use some of the market studies to say the market is big and so on. But at the end, I'm sure there are some holes, or there are some disconnects in what they are presenting, which doesn't give me confidence. So our job is, you know, force people to be extremely clear, extremely simple in the way to present what they have or what they do not have, and make this forum of DAO.digital as well a forum to give that awareness and these learnings as well, to be careful when it doesn't make sense, or to be extremely aggressive when it makes sense as well, and where people are looking for real investments here. So it's absolutely spot on what you said. And I hope that, you know, more and more we will push the people to be more realistic about what they are presenting, and more clear about what they are presenting. Sometimes it's not mature actually to bring it at the table, because the use case, as you said, the use case is not mature today, or it's not a good one. So they have to take their time to think about the use cases behind that they would like to promote. And once they have challenged that 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, asking people, then it's the right time to bring it and then to present it to a forum and say, now I'm looking for an investment. Everybody agrees?
Yes, yes, it's good, nice told. What I like to add is that if you have proper tools in a technical environment, it also explains itself a little bit. If you compare it, for example, to the internet, then in the beginning, we also had a kind of hype and everyone wanted to program the internet, and it was not so productive. But nowadays, with the proper tools, everyone can make a website and it really works. So that helps. Tools do matter with the implementation of the technology. And then you do not always have to know how it works in great detail. For example, when you get in the car, you want to make a trip, you do not always have to open the motor hood and look under the hood if there is really an engine and how it works. And people don't care after some time about the details of technology. And
very good.
That was my plea for tools.
Sure. So look, about the tools and links and so on, I see the Zoom group chat is empty here. So feel free to put full name, links, and everything, because this is what people will see on top of your speech and thoughts. I would like to give the floor to Dmitry before we close this very interesting session, and really learned a lot. And we mentioned here very important key messages that will be great learnings for the rest of the community. So Dmitry, maybe we can say a bit more about the platform and how the platform here, DAO.digital, can help people coming, connecting together, finding, you know, the partner they would like to work with.
Yeah, okay, sure. Thank you very much for joining this session, and let me tell you a little bit about DAO.digital platform, what I have in mind, what we're actually doing right now, and how we could help you with this. So actually, what is DAO.digital? DAO.digital consists of two parts. One part is DAO. This is the decentralized autonomous organization. So this is the type of the organization how we could manage fields, things, and being flat without these hierarchical types of organizations. And other type is digital. So this is the tools that we're using that we could leverage and make it. Digital could help us make things quicker, cheaper, and instantly. So if we unite these two things, DAOs and digital, so we could do great job. So what we're doing here, so the platform first thing is about connecting people with each other. So we have several types of members on the platform. So here are experts, so like we're here right now, sharing the knowledge with others who would like to listen and get know about it. So the other type of people is investors who is listening for experts and would like to listening for the advices where to invest, what areas are good for, and etc. And the other types of people who join us is startups. So these are the founders who would like to share about the startups, who is looking for funds for fundraising and etc. And the fourth type is the companies who already have the service. So these could be the tools that are already could be used, digital tools, blockchain tools, and other things, or different service providers who is ready here to offer services for companies, whatever, marketing, developing services, and etc. So and for connecting these types of people, so we're building different models of the DAO.digital. So first one is event. So we're hosting this event, Summit DAO.digital Global Investors Online Summit. So this is the place where we connect all types of the industry. We share the knowledge, we share the expertise, and get know each other. So the next part is the private community. So if we would like to continue talking with each other, we would like to do some projects, we would like to help each other, so we move to the private community where we could continue communication, we could start different projects, share other knowledge, resources, and etc. So this could be the place we could do some stuff online. So the other part is the marketplace. So all of us have different projects, services, and different things. So if we put all this stuff on the marketplace and offer others who would like to join us and watch media, watch content, and we put our services in front of these people, so we get the coverage, we get the leads for our services, and we get new customers. So that benefits all for us, for as experts and active members of our community. And of course, we have the place for the startups. So this is the other type of the marketplace where startups could create their pitch presentation, upload the information about the startup, and follow the process of raising money for different stages. And if we combine all these members on our platform, when we put these speech presentations in front of investors, when we offer investors good advices from experts, and we offer the best services on the platform that we have, that are trusted by us who are the members of this platform, which if we know each other, we have the great testimonials of this service, so we will could get benefit all of this. So that's about the connecting people. So the other thing is about the integration of different technologies. If we could connect people, so that's okay, but all of us are producing different technology products. And the other purpose of the DAO.digital is helping integrate different technologies on our platform. For example, all of our companies probably have now APIs. All of companies launch their own tokens and etc. And if we help these companies implement this technology on our platform and create new showcases, so that could be a great use case for these companies that could and actually all the industry could benefit of new cases of implementation of new technology, and this platform could probably get these things, provide these things for everyone. So as we're talking about the DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, so there should be token for sure. And the main idea of this token is the digital marketplace token that could be used for getting access for this platform. For example, for getting access for the private community for communication, getting access for uploading the offers for the marketplace, and etc. So actually our platform could produce a variety of different services for promoting different companies, uploading information, for making the pitch presentations for startups, and etc. So and this token, they could get the utility function of this. So and also using this token, we could get benefit from the community of volunteers who could help us promoting the stuff, promoting the events, promoting the editing the interviews, videos, texts, and etc. So and here could be the really good economics of this platform. So actually, I'm going to go deeper in this presentation probably later and show you the things that we're developing. And I will be happy for getting the feedback from you, and yeah, we'll be glad if you will involve into the discussion of these different services, or probably will give the feedback for doing this. So actually, in the few words, so this what the platform is about and what we're doing this. So actually your presentations, your talks on these interviews are the part of this platform, and we'll start doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dmitry. Thank you. So that being said, I would like again to thank you very much for your key messages and your thoughts. I saw as well that we have now a group chat where we have all the information that's very much useful for the, I don't know, hundreds, maybe thousands of people. Hopefully they will, who would be viewing this recording in the future. And then let's stay in touch. If you need anything, we can reach out to each other as well, being connected on LinkedIn. And hope to see you very soon. We will have the live summit on the 21st of May and the next days, right? So there will be as well participation in the panel. So I think Dmitry and the team here are taking care of sending the meeting request for participating in these different panels.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Stay safe.
Of course.
Yep.